main comps. But if Golden Guardians feel like their Hunter Shadow Priest could have a better edge against Cloud9, which is predominantly a mage-based team, then Jelly could be coming in game number 1 off the bench for the Golden Guardians. So I kind of think it's going to be mains game 1. I think that Golden Guardians are going to want to just play whatever the most experienced at, and I think Cloud9 could also do the same, although their Warrior Mage is also a pretty... Okay, never mind. They're just going to play Turbo! Gonna play Turbo.
Golden Guardians.
Wealthy Man in-hands coming out of nowhere.
I don't know if you remember this, but Golden Guardians' losses against Method NA. Method NA smashed them with Turbo, the Harvester Cerealium. Wealthy Man was like, oh, that looked good. I'm going to play that. And here we are. Cloud9. Basically, I feel like this is a counter comp to Golden Guardians, so great blind pick here by Cloud9.
Yeah, look at Abster. He's like, oh no, I've seen where this train goes. I know, and I'm not on that station. Peekaboo as well was not on the station last time. It was a big combo there from the Enhanced Shaman, taking him down, and we can see the same thing here, but now it's going to be Wealthy Man getting tested here for the first time, honestly, on the Shaman. You get a no sap out of the blind, you get a DR Fear, you get a DR Cheap Shot, but already Cubsy able to top off Wealthy Man here. Wealthy Man for the blind setup here didn't even trade out his Astral Shift, didn't trade out his Trinket, Cubsy didn't trade out his Trinket, snaps out with a Triple Fair, and here comes the Ascendance, here comes the one shot. Peekaboo, no trinket, oh no! 4x on the upstairs, it's spiraling out of control already. Peekaboo does survive though, trading out the Global Shadows and Vanish right there, but that was pretty much his last cooldown. He's got evasion as well to work with, but after that, it's going to be good night for him, so a really good start so far for Cloud9.
Yeah, but they survived the Chain Harvest, so that's already better than the last time they've faced up against this composition. Let's see how they can turn this around. They're targeting the Shaman, but he's also a good Hex target, so let's see if it works out. He can just heal himself literally to full with that healing surge. They stun him up afterwards, but they've got to power through his entire health bar again, and they don't have enough damage to do it. They're staying right on top of WizK, trying to cast Hex on Absturge, so Absturge has to heal his Shadow Priest as well as avoid Hex time and time again. Snuts baiting kick there with Fleshcraft, so Wealthy Man can go for a Hex. That was a nice play. They get a lot of pressure onto WizK with that wind shear onto the heal. And this coordination between Wealthy Man and Snuts is going to be important. Snuts can also intervene to immune kick on Wealthy Man as well to set up Hexes. Smoke Bomb attempt, they swap over to Snuts, but no crowd control on Wealthy Man. He's going to healing surge Snuts, ignore pain, and Snuts is going to be A-OK. Absurge and Peekaboo trying to retreat behind the pillar and get a re-stealth. Wealthy Man's trying to door Shadows to prevent their retreat, but interrupted, and they're going to just switch back to WizK. WizK rocket jumping away from the fight, stun onto Wealthy Man. WizK's trying to get dots up. I do wonder if Cubsy is running the AoE Dispel Honor talent. He is running Cleanse the Weak, so anytime they land an interrupt or stun WizK, it gives opportunity for Cubsy to just remove all of the Shadow Priest dots.
I mean, that's devastating. Wealthy Man right now looking for a Hex, and he finds it on Absurge. Beautiful Blinding Light into full Hex. Good setup here by Cloud9, but Snuts on the back foot a little bit. Popping Avatar, and the Avenging Wrath from Cubsy should be more than enough. A Mind Control comes in from Cubsy. That gets interrupted. Now a big swap on Peekaboo. They managed to get his Trinket as well as his Vanish. Golden Guardians not feeling stable in this matchup, and Peekaboo is just such a vulnerable target on that Rogue. Cloud9 know it. They're making these consistent swaps, and this is just going more and more in favor of Cloud9 as this match goes on.
Yeah, Peekaboo is not going to be feeling very stable soon as well. In about 34 seconds when the harvest there has his Ascendance ready. Right now, they're fearing up Peekaboo. There's the Stormbolt. Here comes the damage. Snuts, Sharpened Blade. Wealthy Man trying to fake cast the Wind Shear of Absturge there. Actually gets kicked and Wind Shear. He could go for a Hex here. There's no grounding totem. Absturge is a frog right now. Snuts is all over him. Peekaboo forced to use his sprint here trying to escape, but he gets disarmed as well. Peekaboo able to run away there with that sprint freedom way to the other side of the map there. Very nicely done by him. Now turning the pressure around onto Snuts, but Snuts pre-D stance here should be completely fine in that situation. Cubsy has no problems healing him up, and here comes the Ascendance potentially. Big damage potential. Anytime they land a Hex onto Absturge, it's just going to be good night for Peekaboo. He has to pre-evasion. There's the stun, there's the damage. Where's the Ascendance? There it is. He gets feared on it. Nice fear there by WizK trying to break up this damage, and Peekaboo does get his evasion. And now WizK here getting tap targeted, dropping to 20% HP or something, but he is able to activate his Fade, get his Silence out, and keep himself alive.
All right, let's see how much longer. Mana is looking about even, which is very surprising between these teams. Vendetta's up. Let's see what Peekaboo can get done. Cubsy anticipating crowd control with that sacrifice. Doesn't find any real cooldowns to trade with it. Now trying to go for an AoE Dispel, but there's no interrupts on WizK. He's just reloading all those vampiric touches onto the whole team for free here. I like that WizK is rebuffing his fortitude as well. So this will provide a little bit of an HP buffer, and Wealthy Man doesn't have infinite mana to keep purging it off. Very important as the Shadow Priest to keep fortitude up, maximum stamina possible so you don't get one shot by the Enhanced with Shaman burst. Good little micromanagement of his class here, even under immense pressure. Double fear landed by Snut. Stormbolt isolating Peekaboo, but Peekaboo saw it coming, activating Feint before getting stunned, reducing a significant amount of damage. However, he has to use his Vanish as well to escape from the fight, as Absterge was hexed and unable to recover with too much ease. But now that Feint has bought Peekaboo time in this game, he's looking to try and maybe re-stealth around the corner, but there's Spirit Wolves on him. There's no way he's going to be able to re-stealth. Silence on Cubsy. WizK is doing his best to develop momentum on Snuts and Wealthy Man, but these are both two sturdy classes between the Enhanced Shaman and the Arms Warrior. You're going to have to cut through a lot of absorbs and healing, and they're doing their best. Cubsy is now stunned. Snuts is the target. Peekaboo pre-flesh crafting to immune crowd control on his cooldowns potentially, but not finding too much. There's a smoke bomb opportunity actually. No medallion on Snuts. He's already at half health. As they say, that Wealthy Man likely tosses him a big healing surge. WizK is still the target, and they are really banking on this smoke bomb in 45 seconds. That's what Snuts needs to be ready for.
Yeah, look at Peekaboo. He's trying to shut down the drink. Cubsy, just known to be one of the thirstiest healers. Big mind games coming in, though. Wealthy Man could be in some trouble. Trades out the Astral Shift. Abster's going to have to play catch-up. Both Peekaboo and WizK at about 50% health right now. Finally catching some heal, 7% dampening. Wealthy Man with no Astral Shift going to be feeling vulnerable. And Golden Guardians are looking a lot better in this matchup than they did against Method NA. Let's see, though. Cloud9 still have good mana, still have solid defense, lots of pressure. Abster's definitely on the back foot right now. We'll see what Golden Guardians are going to be able to do. Peekaboo getting incredibly low. Might have to trade out the evasion. No, just the feint is enough to shrug off that damage. A kidney shot on Snuts, slowing him down on his avatar. But still, this unrelenting pressure from Cloud9 is stressful to deal with for the Golden Guardians. Here is a big Stormbolt. Peekaboo could be in a little trouble. Once again, a feint comes in. Trying to just run away with the Cloak of Shadows, holding onto that evasion, just so important. He's got the Vendetta, but there's a Blessing and Protection answer by Cubsy. How is Peekaboo going to set this up?
Oh, that Shadow Step.
Oh, nice place there by Peekaboo, but now here comes the Ascendance. He needs to pop his evasion immediately.
Smoke bomb!
There's the smoke bomb as well onto Snuts, but Sacrifice comes through. Peekaboo now trying to sprint away. The last time he tried to do this, he died. He needs to be careful here. Look at there. There's tap target damage from Wealthy Man. Still no evasion here. He's going to try to hold on to it, typing away here, and it looks like he's going to get away with the greed here potentially. I mean, personally, I would just trade the evasion right there. But Peekaboo now going to be trinketing out from that situation and using his Vanish. Ascendance has faded. He's going to have that evasion to work with a little bit later. So Peekaboo in a good spot defensively there, unless he goes down 100-0 in a stun. Now Snuts here getting stunned up, Wealthy Man in a Hex, and I gotta agree with you here. The Golden Guardians, they've been able to survive for a really long time here, and for them, I mean, as long as they can get deeper into dampening, they're gonna be in a great spot, because that's when WizK is really gonna apply too much pressure, overwhelming amounts of pressure, to the point where you can win. But there's the Chain Harvest, there's the Spirit Link Cowana saving the day right there. Peekaboo saving the evasion for that moment there as well. But now that was their pretty much last cooldown to work with. This is not playing that Void Shift here, so they're not going to have really any panic buttons for that next setup set.
Yeah, this is going to be dicey for Golden Guardians. Maybe they can just turn it around and win in the near future. Would be on the back of Cloud9 making a mistake. They have a lot of cooldowns to trade, but momentum is shifting potentially in favor of Golden Guardians. Cubsy is struggling to stabilize the team. As I say, that WizK gets smacked around here behind a pillar. Cubsy is making a decision to charge in. Trinket's the blind on his way in. Maybe a swap to the Paladin, but they're just going to stun Snuts, try and get some pressure. Absterge has Earthen Wall down preemptively, anticipating some damage. However, Snuts held on to his Warbreaker. He's waiting for that Earthen Wall, now going for a triple intimidating shout, likely to pop a Warbreaker, Sharpened Blade here in the near future. There's the Warbreaker. WizK is going to fade. Snuts is holding on to the Sharpened Blade. He's going to Sharpened Blade WizK at very low health, no Spirit Link. It'll be very difficult for him to recover. This is big damage incoming with that Doom Winds. Great coordination between Snuts and Wealthy Man. They're going to net dispersion. They swap the Peekaboo. They get Cloak of Shadows. They might even get a kill. They're going to Blessing Protection. Ults aggressively. Shadow Steps out on 10%. Barely staying alive. These Shadow Steps from Peekaboo have been clutch to survive these setups on himself time and time again, but it's a battle against the clock, and it's a clock that they're just not winning. Absterge's mana is in a terrible position.
It is not looking good. Snutso gets the sacrifice. Still good offense. I mean, Golden Guardians have been on the back foot. They're almost getting one shot all over the place. Whiskey. Ooh, he could go down. He's got the fade. Can he get to the fade? He's in a stun. Execute could potentially come in. The Greater Fade does come in, but Absurge, keep in mind, he's got no emergency cooldowns. He's basically got no healing. He gets interrupted into potential Hex here. Snuts and a kidney shot, 30% dampening at this point of the game, but Snuts and Wealthy Man, their damage is unrelenting. It is not stopping. At the same time, though, Snuts might have to trade out the Die by the Sword. This is do or die. Snuts actually just pushing in, using the Die by the Sword, using the Fleshcraft, looking to close it out here on WizK, who is in execute range. Smoke Bomb drops, one execute lands, Stormbolt, and that is it. Cloud9 with their turbo dismantle Golden Guardians, but Golden Guardians looked a lot better in this matchup than they did in Method NA, so still some signs of life, but I feel like Cloud9, they came prepared for this one.
Cloud9 knew exactly what to do here. They did their homework. They're on track to actually winning the entire circuit here, being the #1 seed, having beaten everybody, not lost a single series so far, and just showing more and more versatility here. Even on the last weekend before the finals, you can see here on the replay. I like that they stopped. They kind of were tunneling Peekaboo at one point, but they went back to their kind of hit and run strategy here, just applying immense pressure onto Whiskey, forcing Peekaboo to come out, and be more defensive, and that allows them to keep swapping back and forth here. And what Snuts does here is really interesting. So Wealthy Man activates the Ascendance. Snuts is low. He charges in and then just Fleshcrafts, kind of baiting Peekaboo's attention onto him, while Wealthy Man is having free uptime here with the Ascendance. Peekaboo dropping the Smoke Bomb there, trying to just stop some damage, but eventually they reconnect there with the Stormbolt, and Wealthy Man is able to harvest.
Okay. Cloud9 up 1-0. This is the #1 and #3 seeded team right now in this North American region. Cloud9 has basically a perfect record. They have yet to lose a single match, but I mean, Golden Guardians, they've only lost one here, so both teams very, very strong right now in the circuit, and this could very well be a very close game, or a very close series, as that, I mean, the first game, as we just saw, was extremely close to Batiste. How likely is this going to be our first game 5 of the day?
I'm not sold on the Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman working. I think if Cloud9 play a really good defense, that this is not going to work for them. They need something else. And then when you try and consider what are their other best options, it's like they could Rogue Mage Paladin. I think that they could Shadow Priest Warrior. I think Shadow Priest Warrior wouldn't be that much worse if they want to get Jelly, but they've been practicing WizK Ret. I know they played Ret Hunter one time, but it doesn't. It needs to be something that can also beat the other options that Cloud9 has. So I think Rogue Mage Paladin or Shadow Priest Warrior are their only options. I don't want to see the Rogue Mage again. I feel like we've seen this matchup now enough times to see that they need to try something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the first time we've seen Wealthy Man on that class in this season, so it was definitely probably a surprise for Golden Guardians. So I mean, they could potentially turn it around here, because how likely do you think they were even expecting that Ven? Do you think that with this lock, with this blind that they locked in, that they were expecting MLD from Cloud9?
Probably. I don't think many of us were expecting. It seems so obvious that they could just play Turbo too. I mean, it's the same thing. Cerulean played Enhancement Shaman, Wealthy Man played Enhancement Shaman. It seems like a great answer. Golden Guardians, I believe I spoke with Absurge a little bit, and I think their answer for this is the BM Hunter Retribution Paladin, Holy Priest. So that's kind of their answer. It didn't work out for them against Method NA, but Absurge was saying how he felt like it was just them not playing to their potential or playing it properly. So maybe Golden Guardians still isn't feeling too bad about this one. They can switch over, but this is one of those series where the blind pick is going to matter a lot. Both these teams have so many different compositions that going into a situation where you get to basically counter comp, either one of these sides is going to have a big edge. So we'll see if Golden Guardians can win with the Ret BM Hunter, then I feel like we still have a series on our hands. Otherwise, I feel like Cloud9 is going to be looking to take this one.
Okay, we
Dollar.
see these comp choices starting to roll out here. Golden Guardians locking in Dalaran Sewers. Cloud9 not making any changes with this composition. Golden Guardians now going to be choosing their comp that they are going to lock in. But game number 2, they need to win this if they want to stay in this series. And then, but if Cloud9 wins game number 2, they're going to have a really hard time at turning this one around, Super T's.
I think you're going to try Ret Hunter again. I'm
I
not
think they
sold
will,
on it. At least
100%.
the reason I'm not sold on it is because you need something that can also beat what Cloud9 has other than Turbo, and I don't think it's something you can blind lock.
Well, they
So
just have
maybe
to
it's
win a
all right
swing match.
here. It's all right here, but they need a swing match comp, so it's pretty risky. They have faith in WizK Ret, but they don't have faith in Jelly Warrior for some reason. It seems like. I feel like, have we even seen Jelly Beans and Warrior brought out at any point? In Europe, we see Shadow Priest Warrior so much, and on the ladder as well.
Not in Shadowlands, I don't think, right?
No, they
not
did
in
run it
Shadowlands.
once. They ran
they?
it. Yeah, they played Shadow Priest Warrior Paladin, for sure, in the cup stages.
Into what,
Okay.
though?
I mean, I think they lost, but I mean, they played it. I don't
For
remember
some
what it
reason,
was
this Ret
into,
Hunter
but I
just
do
seems
remember
so
them
random
playing.
to me.
It is a bit random.
Am I totally
yeah.
off base by feeling like Ret Hunter is kind of random, or no? As like this is like their counter for Turbo.
We can't call it Red Hunter, guys. It's called Cupid Cleave, please. And yes, it is random.
It seems random,
That's
right?
why I'm
Like
not saying
Jungle is
anything.
really good into Turbo. Jungle would be a good pick, but I feel like Ret Hunter it
SK
can
Farrell,
work, but
does he
it's.
just play the whole alphabet or what?
I mean, WizKid's played Farrell in other expansions.
Oh yeah, true.
I feel like
actually.
they need to get Peekaboo needs to get on an alt at some point as well. If they can get a bit more options, like Jungle would be really good into Turbo. If they can get a Feral Druid, and this is maybe more so talking about moving from the circuit forward.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're putting a lot of time into this comp, and it's not. I don't think it's a guaranteed win into Turbo, and it doesn't have good matchups into like anything that's meta either. It just seems really random.
So we don't have confidence in this composition then, it sounds like, Super T's.
Well, it's a Ret Paladin, it could still just completely one-tap somebody, but it seems really unstable. Like, you can just down the Ret at any time. You could connect to the Hunter, down the Hunter. The Holy Priest, I guess they want to like get a double stun healer, trap healer, stun Wealthy Man, mind games. It's not often you see Cupid with Holy Priest. I feel like it's Disc more often, at least on the ladder, it's Disc Priest. So Holy Priest seems kind of odd. The whole thing seems just really odd to me on the side of Golden Guardians. I mean, I get Shadow Priest Warrior or Shadow Priest Rogue doesn't work. Like, I get that. But this, I'm not sold on it. Maybe they can sell me on it after the game. I'm not sold. I'm not an easy sell on many things. But they could maybe prove me wrong at the end of this game, but it just doesn't feel. I'm not vibing with the Ret Hunter Holy Priest.
They had some really close games. Yeah, with the Cupid, they had some really close games with the Cupid against Method NA. And Absurd seemed still confident in it after they lost, so maybe it is one of those things where they have more practice against Turbo. Maybe they've cleaned up their gameplay a little bit on a small map. I think Wealthy Man will be kind of vulnerable here, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. There's some things I don't like about the composition is you don't have a Hex dispel, so Wealthy Man, I feel like if he's on point with Hexes, they could set up crowd control in that way, and Golden Guardians wouldn't really have a solid answer for it, but we'll see. I think this is where kind of Wealthy Man is going to be tested, because more than likely in this matchup he's going to be the target of choice, so he's going to have to do a good job hiding and getting away when he needs to, making sure he's throwing in those heals on himself and just doing a really good job defensively, and then also trying to set up Wisp Nuts in order to actually take someone down. So this is kind of a last-ditch effort for Golden Guardians. If they don't win with this, then I think it's honestly kind of a disaster, because if they don't figure out something for Turbo, even if they make it into the top 4, then half the teams that they're going to be playing against just have a direct counter that they have no answer for. That is not a good position to be in.
Yeah, most certainly not. So we'll see if they do have a composition here. It sounds like we do have a little bit of a delay as well going on behind the scenes. It's actually Cloud9 this time, so I don't know if we could infer anything from that, if they're nervous going into this match, not sure how to handle it, or just somebody had to go to the bathroom or something. But they're going to be up 1-0 already in this series. It's best of 5 as well. Golden Guardians, I mean, really, both of these teams could for sure use a win on the board, but it's not really like Cloud9 is struggling to stay in this top 4. But we're going to see if they do win this series, and if Cloud9 stays in this one, potentially getting a little bit of back and forth here. It would be the first time that we would see a not 3-0 today besides that first series of the day. So we'll have to see if this comp does work with them. But I mean, you got two. It feels a little bit risky as well, especially when you're up against a team like Cloud9. It's not like, you know, Wealthy Man is playing an alt as well, or we're seeing alts on Cloud9, but there's a lot of alts just all across the board in this matchup, which is
well, Jellybeans is the only
considering.
main. I guess Cubsy is kind of like...
it's true.
It's nuts.
Cubsy's kind of like an everything main on healer maybe, but Jellybeans is the
consider
only one like
Snuts an
100%.
alt? Would you say Snuts is an alt warrior?
Yeah, is Snuts a main player or an alt player? He's like a main alt.
Anything Snuts plays
Yeah.
is his main. Like, he doesn't have
That's
an alt.
why I
Like I
stuttered a
don't think
little
his
bit.
Warlock's his main anymore. I don't think of Warlock when I think of Snuts right now.
Warlock.
Of course not.
That was
What do you
Yeah,
talking
exactly. That's what I'm
bro.
saying. Like, what is
Kinda
Snuts'
true.
main?
That's what I was like,
Like,
I
what
was
do you
going to
think
say
of
Wealthy
now?
Man's on his alt, and then I was like, well, I guess Snuts like kind of is, but I don't know if we count that or not. It's just
Snuts
alt. He's
plays it
just,
all.
you know, he's Snuts.
It's
Yeah,
not-
Snuts is...
Like
He's
Snuts is a
proven.
warrior right now.
He's proven that he's not an alt warrior. And Cubsy is definitely
No, but
not
like
an
I'm saying,
alt
he's a
warrior.
warrior right now. I would say I think of warrior most at the moment
Rogue
when
warrior.
I think of Snuts.
Snuts' main is whatever he decides to play that day. I feel like we can see those.
That's what I mean. Snuts is a main alt. Like he's just
Yeah.
he doesn't have mains or alts. Everything's a main.
But we can,
Pretty
we can
much,
see his
yeah.
win. Right here, 73% play rate. I mean, that is a huge difference from when we saw these guys in BFA. We rarely got to see him off the bench. When we did, it was a phenomenal moment. But now we're seeing him in quite a bit. They're utilizing him quite a bit more this season, and it's worked well in their favor so far.
Yeah,
For Snuts, I'm sure he was happy when he was just sitting back and watching
Yeah.
his team just win
Yeah.
every game as the main block. And I was like, all right, I guess you guys need me. Well, I have been
He was
practicing.
main
So.
bench warmer.
Yeah, but
It was always funny, like, whenever I would interview them back when I was still doing interviews, like, I would like to talk to Snuts a lot just because, you know, he likes doing the interviews, or at least he's good at doing the interviews. So even though he wasn't playing, he was somebody I approached a lot to do those stage interviews. And he always seemed like, no matter how his team was doing or what situation they were doing, like, he always seemed so chill, like, hands in his pocket, kind of leaning back. I think there's a lot of pictures of him in his interviews like that. And yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he was definitely a vital person being that fourth player, being on the bench, even though we didn't get to see him a lot. He was definitely a playmaker going on behind the scenes here. We have a WizK now, 100% play rate. And we can see those stats as well, 59% win rate on that Shadow Priest.
that's crazy. That actually means that Jelly and Peekaboo have never played together so far in Shadowlands in a tournament. So
yeah, true.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. This kid's played every single game, so obviously a really important person. You can see, obviously, mainly playing the Fire Mage and the Shadow Priest. He hasn't won a game on the Retribution Paladin yet, but Golden Guardians believe, and they're going to have to believe, because like I said, if they find themselves in a situation where they don't have an answer for Turbo, I feel like their chances of winning are really low. So let's see what they can get done. They're going after Wealthy Man, a big explosive opener here for Golden Guardians.
All right, let's see what they can get here. Wealthy Man taking quite a beating. Trinket, Astral Shift already out of the books. Cubsy now going to be leading that trap, and it's not a bad start so far for the Golden Guardians. Wealthy Man out looking the Hex, trying to juke some interrupts, but Jellybeans, he's not going to get faked that easily. Jellybeans still just applying that pressure right now. WizK now in a Stormbolt. Snuts looking to get aggressive. Jellybeans looking for the Door of Shadows into the trap here, and he's actually not going to get it. Wealthy Man actually... I don't know what happened to that trap. Cubsy actually walked into an old trap right now. That's disaster. Full Hammer of Justice here onto Wealthy Man. WizK now also taking quite a beating from Snuts with that defensive fear, fearing up all the pets here, and also doing quite a bit of damage there on the rat. And now Abster's in Hammer of Justice. Big pressure here, potentially onto Absters, actually looking like they want to swap over to him for a second. Jellybeans, though, looking for more crowd control. And actually, so far, it's not looking too bad for the Golden Guardians. Absters manages to pick WizK up once again. WizK as well here with Word of Glorious, using his human trinket to survive there as well. Here comes the trap, here comes the full fear, there's the Hodge. Big pressure now with the Wealthy Man. That could be the sacrifice here. Cubsy in a freezing trap, but looks like Wealthy Man actually going to keep himself alive there with the defensive Chain Harvest.
Yeah, Chain Harvest is an adaptable spell. You could use it to zap someone or just heal yourself to full. So good interchange by Wealthy Man. But WizK is so low at 10%, that knockback.
Whoa!
But it might not be enough. He has the Divine Shield. Where's the Shatter? Snuts is going for the Shattering Throw. WizK tries to line of sight it, but he wasn't able to line of sight it in time. Cubsy is smacking him around. Absterch is in a full hex. That could just be it. 2 seconds left. 1 second left. WizK down at 1% again is going to survive. Absterch trades some powerful cooldowns. Now they're trying to turn it around in desperation onto Wealthy Man, but they're not even scratching his health bar with the freezing trap. Snuts likely with the intervene onto Wealthy Man, totally absorbing that attack. Both teams stable in this position, but Golden Guardians fall behind.
And Golden Guardians, what a close call that was. They don't have any cooldowns left. WizK might be off Barbarian soon, which means he can use at least that Blessing of Protection, but if Wealthy Man's there, he can just purge it off really quickly. WizK with his Avenging Wrath looking to get aggressive. He's pushing forward, but still on the back foot. Snuts is just all over him, ripping in and causing an immense amount of pressure. Wealthy Man's going to have to survive, though. Cubsy into a full trap. Wealthy Man all alone. Intervene coming in from Snuts. That should be more than enough to keep him alive. Such a powerful warrior defensive cooldown. And I feel like as long as Snuts is there to back up Wealthy Man, he can keep him alive, and Cloud9 can continue this defensive push on the WizK.
Yeah, that's looking good for them so far. WizK, no trinket, no bubble. He did use his human ratio, so should have that trinket rotating back up in about 30 or so seconds. Right now, though, WizK just trying to build his distance. He has no trinket for this one. Big pressure coming in. There's the Sharpened Blade. Here comes the zap. Big pressure coming out from the Wealthy Man here. Look at the Harvest. Another win here. Full trap though on the Cubsy. Wealthy Man needs to be defensive. He's going for the Hex here. Full Hammer of Justice now onto Wealthy Man. They're going after Snuts here with double cross CC, but Snuts not even going to trade out that with a sword. He's just going to go battle stance here and keep on trucking here, looking for WizK. Wealthy Man takes a massive chunk of damage. Cubsy's just going to immediately sacrifice there. That was a surprising amount of pressure, and he's going to be playing that one cool. That was also the Battle Master there from Wealthy Man. Cubsy now going to finally pick him up to full HP here once again as they look to make their next assault. They just got absolutely trinket out of the way, Sid.
Yeah, I think they can win on the next crowd control, but Cubsy's in a freezing trap. Golden Guardians are trying to turn it around and take out Wealthy Man. Can they force his Astral Shift before the Avenging Wrath? That will allow them to a route to victory. They're trying to force it, but they just can't. They don't have enough damage. Wealthy Man looking to reset some cooldowns here with the Thunder Charge, lowering the cooldowns of both Snuts and himself by a significant amount. Absterch is interrupted. WizK is stunned up. This could be it for the Golden Guardians in game number 2 if they can connect, but an explosive trap knocks the entire team away from WizK. Wealthy Man's going to pop the Ascendance regardless and try and power down WizK. A race between Wealthy Man and WizK, both with their most powerful cooldowns active. Who is going to take the brunt of this exchange? It looks like they're both trading evenly at the moment, but there goes the Divine Toll. Wealthy Man's on the corner trying to line, but he comes back in with a Chain Harvest, and WizK is trying to run away. Both of these classes are so spooky with their cooldowns up.
Yeah, they definitely are. Both healing themselves for quite a bit, bursting each other for quite a bit. It's a battle of chicken. Absterch a little bit behind on mana. Intimidating Shot going to be coming in from Snuts with a Stormbolt onto WizK. Full Hex lands. Beautiful setup by Cloud9. WizK is all alone. What is he going to do? Finally, the crowd control subsides. Absterch, does he have the healing to keep WizK alive? I feel like WizK has just had to run for so much of this game, trying to slow down any drinking shenanigans from Cubsy. Jellybeans really doesn't want him to recover his mana, but Absterch is struggling to keep his team alive. Wealthy Man and Snuts are pressuring him down. If WizK is just going to run away, they're going to switch targets. Wealthy Man looking for attacks. Now caught into a full Hammer of Justice. Intervene comes in from Snuts, trying to play defense for Wealthy Man, and that should be more than enough. The dive at the sword is available for Snuts. Now going after WizK, a nice disarm, but Snuts is still low. Cubs is going to have to power him up, and he does not have that Avenging Wrath for another minute. No, he gets an Awakening proc, so this should be big heals for Cloud9.
Yeah, beautiful swap here to Absterch. He has to use the Guardian Spirit right there. Still dropping quite low here. Beautiful pressure coming out here. Defensive fear, full trap there. Full hammer of justice. Nice intervene by Snuts though. But Snuts here could get swapped.
Holy
He
fire.
does not die with a sword. Big pump coming out here. Snuts gonna drop 20% HP. Activates the avatar right there. Trying to survive there with that kind of defensive avatar. Now countering the pressure back onto Absturge. Absturge gonna top himself up. He has the fate to work with. He has to activate it here immediately as they had a hex there onto Jellybeans. This game is going to the wire. There's a stun onto Absturge. He's forced to trinket. Nice knock right there by Absturge, and now he's going to shift his position back to the other side of the map here. Wealthy Man surely can't keep chasing here. He's going to go back to Whiskey, but Whiskey has his Divine Shield coming up in 25 seconds, so maybe they should just keep training Absturge here. He's completely tapped here. Snuts just wants to get the pressure going, wants to keep chasing him down here. Wealthy Man now looking for a hex. Absturge trying to shadow or death bait, but it's a Whiskey. Whiskey now trinketing there, using his Sanctuary, keeping everyone alive. Jellybeans teleporting in there with that Ventier Covenant, disorienting everything, looking for the CC, but Cubsy is completely and it looks like the Golden Guardians might actually be able to do it, Sid.
0 mana on both sides here. Whiskey's got Divine Shield in his back pocket. He's going to pop it and try and go for the kill, but Snuts is going for Shattering Throw. Absturge ducks around the corner with the Soul Shape. Snuts is in pursuit with Door of Shadows interrupted. Absturge is trying to drink. Is he going to get mana? It's very important that he gets mana here. Even any amount is better than none. Cubsy is totally out of it. Whiskey gets feared. Absturge gets feared up. Who are they going to go after? They want to go after the Rep Paladin. Full Hex, no Medallion. Whiskey on the run. Stuns Snuts behind the pillar. Beautiful stun behind the pillar, but Wealthy Man's there to help support. Now Ascendance is rolling. Wealthy Man is a really big threat, and he is absolutely smacking Whiskey around with this Ascendance, down to 50% health. Absturge is desperate to try and pick his teammates back up, going for heal, a very efficient but slow heal. These heals are so risky by Absturge. Whiskey can get pumped at any moment. Jellybeans is just rotted down to half by random cleave damage. They're swapping to Jellybeans. They're really putting the heat up here onto the Golden Guardians. Cubsy comes under the freezing trap. He's got cooldowns. He's got options. Absturge has a bit more mana in terms of options there. This is still anyone's game.
Really is a full hex on Jellybeans. Whiskey goes for a Divine Toll on Snuts. Snuts in battle stance, just doesn't care. Oh, he does carry into defensive stance now. Still making a little bit of defensive play here on Whiskey. 17% dampening. Both these healers are struggling. Whiskey's low. He's got the Blessing of Protection, but he's not opting to use it just yet. Jellybeans looking to get aggressive here onto Wealthy Man. Big damage for both sides. Astral Shift is going to be traded from Wealthy Man. Still no Ascendance for quite some time. This is wings from Whiskey, but he's forced to run away. Hammer of Justice on Snuts can come to get the Dispel. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Whiskey might be able to escape. Blessing of Protection comes in. Wealthy Man, can he dispel it? He needs to get the Purge, but Whiskey just line of sighting, avoiding all of that damage. This is so back and forth. Both these teams very evenly matched, and really at this point, anyone could fall.
Yeah, anyone could fall. Cubsy has no mana, but he does have cooldowns. Whiskey has nothing, though. He trinkets out of that one. He gets gripped back. No Divine Shield, no human trinket. There's the trap attempt onto Cubsy. There's the intervene coming out from Snuts. There's the defensive Chain Harvest, healing Wealthy Man back up to full. There's the wings as well for Cubsy. The Hammer of Justice. But Wealthy Man taking a huge chunk of damage. There's the sacrifice coming out. The last effort here from Cubsy. He still has his Divine Shield, still has the Blessing of Protection.
They've done it!
He can't use it.
I think they're there.
Finished.
There's no mana, and the Cupid Cleave will take game number 2, tying us up 1-1, and I guess it works. Sid,
are you a believer now?
I'm a believer. It's a 9-minute game. Both teams are completely out of mana. It's like the closest thing you've ever seen. Are you a believer?
I mean, you said you weren't sold on it. They just showed you a brochure.
Works.
What
it's
do you
all
think?
right. I'm more so not sold on the flexibility of the comp. Like, are they going to blind lock that, do you think?
no way.
That's a great
exactly.
question.
It's not that flexible. It's like it can work. It's good for this maybe, but it's
What do
not
they
that
blind
flexible.
lock?
I think you have to Shadow Priest Warrior blind lock.
I don't think.
In terms of comp, but it's obvious that Jellybeans is not going to play Warrior, I think. But if they had that as a comp, I think that would be their blind.
You think Cloud9 switches off this comp?
No, I think Golden Guardians should blind lock Warrior, Shadow Priest, Shaman if they don't know what Cloud9 is going to play. I think it's their best odds into everything that Cloud9 has. But if I almost kind of want to see them blind lock Ret Hunter just to see if it's as abysmal as I think it is on paper against the spell cleaves that Cloud9 have. And this game was so close. That drink that Absturge ended up getting was likely the difference between winning and losing here. I mean, that's the amount of mana that he has is from the drink that he was able to get. So even under those stressful situations, finding that opportunity to drink and keep the fight going really enabled his team. And we can see it on the scoreboard. A ton of damage coming out between both WizK and Jellybeans. It can be pretty tough, I feel like, to tie a BM Hunter at the moment on damage. So WizK definitely pumping some numbers. Wealthy Man with a ton of healing in this matchup. And I do wonder what kind of blind locks we're going to see here from the Golden Guardians. This series is going to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, most definitely. Now that it is tied up, we're going to be seeing Cloud9. I mean, it's 1-1 right now. You know, they won that first game. Golden Guardians won that second game, so they are going to lock in their composition. And yeah, that most definitely is the question. We're going to find out very shortly what Golden Guardians does decide to blind lock in, because I mean, in series such as this, when they're just so close, that has got to be such a nerve-wracking decision to make, Venriki.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, at this point, playing for you know, that top 4, things are looking good for both of these teams. So maybe that pressure really isn't there. But if they could get a win against Cloud9, it speaks volumes for Golden Guardians, because you want to have an answer. Like I said, if you can't beat Turbo, then all of a sudden your chances in that top 4, once you finally get there, aren't looking too good to actually win it all. So Golden Guardians, they got to show flexibility here, and they got to basically pick a composition blind that they think has a great shot against everything. We're going to Empyrean Domain. So now Golden Guardians say this is probably the toughest decision they're going to have to make. What comp do they lock in blind? Because I feel like if they go with the Assassination Rogue Shadow Priest, they're not going to beat Turbo. We've just seen that play out so much. They're going to have to play out of their minds. Shadow Priest Hunter could potentially be okay. I wouldn't mind Shadow Priest Hunter, in all honesty. I think they're a lot more confident with that. And I really don't think we're going to see Jellybeans on the Warrior.
Wait, no, what was the matchup we saw completely dismantle it?
That was Turbo.
Into Shadow Priest Hunter as well?
I thought so.
I
Warrior Mage Paladin started doing better into it too. Golden Guardians don't really have a good blind unless they've got Warrior Shadow Priest shown practiced, I think.
I think they go RPS blind lock. Game number 1. Retro?
Retro.
Yeah, you just want to see Scooby-Doo cleave. No,
I do. No way they play Retro.
There's no way they lock in Scooby-Doo cleave.
Why not?
But, because you're playing against C9, they have like 100 different wizard comps to deal with you, like Shadow Priest Mage, Lock Mage. Like, did you see that tweet that Trill did, where he tweeted that he was CC'd like 186 times in one game against them?
Yeah.
And they locked in RPS. I think this actually makes sense, because game number 1 for C9's Turbo, it didn't look convincing enough where I was like, there's no way Golden Guardian can win. It wasn't that convincing. It was fair. Like, it was fairly convincing, but it took too much. You know, it took like 30% damp. When you're in 30-40% damp territory, well, guess what? Anybody can win. So I think this makes sense. This is the least bad option out of all the bad options that they're presented with.
Which poison do you want? You have to pick a poison.
So is the size of the map what makes the difference in this? I mean, this is basically a repeat of game number 1, the only difference being Empyrean Domain.
No, what it comes down to is if they lock in Red Hunter, they guaranteed will get countercomp by C9 and lose. Yeah. If they lock in Shadow Priest Hunter, they will guaranteed get countercomp by C9 and lose. If they lock in Rogue Shadow Priest, they will get countercomp by C9, but it's gonna be, you know,
it's not a guarantee.
How do you say
80,
better
20.
a devil that you know than one that you don't know? Is that a thing?
I don't know
is
if
a thing,
it's
but I don't.
applicable to this situation. Devil you
Well,
know rather than devil you don't. Like
well,
they don't want to.
Well, I don't think they know like how bad it's gonna be to play like Red Hunter into like
They don't want to
Shadow
find
Priest
out.
Mage, for example. So you rather play against the Turbo, right?
I think they know.
You know what you're dealing with there.
No.
I think they do know, and they don't want that. So, hey, you are right, though. I mean, the game went to 30% dampening. Assassination Rogue Shadow Priest, they might be able to take someone down at that point in the game. So, Golden Guardians, I would say they're not out of it yet. Cloud9, yeah, I mean, they should theoretically win this matchup, but Golden Guardians, I feel like they're getting more comfortable every single time we see them play this matchup, and eventually they could get to the point where they're so comfortable they actually pull out a win. And I think that's what they're hoping for here.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for as well. Cloud9 have yet to drop a single match this entire circuit, and now they're tied up right now in this series, and Golden Guardians looking to ruin that perfect score with Cloud9 at the moment, put another winning match on the board for these guys. They're going to go back to basically match number 1. This is exactly what we saw in the blind picks, the only difference being, of course, Empyrean Domain. So we're going to see if they can make it work here on this map, but is this gonna it was Cloud9's map choice? Do we think that this is gonna be a huge disadvantage then, given the size of this map for Golden Guardians?
I think the map is good for Golden Guardians.
I think it's two. It has pros and cons for both teams. It should allow
Right.
Cubsy to drink if he needs to, but at the same time, I think pulling someone into a bad spot to smoke bomb them becomes a lot more threatening. With more space to move them around. But I think Cubsy's mana was actually a bit of a problem in game 1, so that actually might be helping them. I think Cloud9 picked this because they wanted to make sure they had a good wizard map. If they didn't pick a good wizard map,
Just
maybe
in
there's a
case,
chance that Ret Hunter beats them on a
Makes
small
sense.
map. So they wanted to make sure that wasn't an option, and they think they can still win, and this just enables them to drink if they need to.
I love the confidence of this as well. I mean, when we did see this match in the first one, Golden Guardians actually lost, and now off of a win, they won that last game. They're going to go back to what they did play in the first game. They blind locked it, of course, especially. So you know that they're feeling strong in this comp. They think that they can make it work heading into this next game. So this would be the match point for them if they could win this one as well, and that would be absolutely huge for Golden Guardians if they are the team that is finally able to beat Cloud9. No other team has yet to do it in this circuit. So this would be huge for them in terms of confidence, in terms of points, and it would set them up very nicely for not only Sunday, but for the finals as well, because Cloud9 is a very difficult team for any single team. It doesn't matter who you are, and we're going to see if Golden Guardians can handle it. Game number 3 on Empyrean Domain. Golden Guardians looking to turn things around in their favor.
We'll have to see if they can do it. The big map might be nice for Golden Guardians just because it seemed like Peekaboo had to kite a lot in order to survive. So a lot of the game he was just playing from range, throwing his daggers, putting up bleeds, moving in for kidney shot, and then running away. And on this map, he is going to have the space to do that. So this map might actually pay some favors here for who they decide to open on. Peekaboo in the midfield right now with sprint active, gets a cheap shot onto Snuts, a Garrote silence on Cubsy, and maybe going to be going after the Paladin a little bit more in this matchup.
Oh, I really like this. Big pressure on the Cubsy here. He drops quite low there, but he did only use his Curion Vial and his Battlemaster. Didn't use any of those breakers that we like to call them, those trinkets and Blessing of Protections and things like that free you from prior patrols. Now Peekaboo forced to use his Vanish and his Cloak in that exchange as well. Absterge in a Hex here, but he's going to just be coming out shortly into a Hammer of Justice. Whiskey looking for the Master Spell, finds it. Peekaboo just kiting right now with that Rogue, just throwing his dagger, slowing everybody up. Looking for a restuff here, maybe potentially. Actually, no, just adding up a little bit of damage onto Cubsy here behind that pillar. Getting a few bleeds there. There's a full kidney shot. There's the Divine Protection. Wealthy Man, one heal coming out from Wealthy Man there. Could be enough there to keep Cubsy alive. Every time Wealthy Man can get those heals off in the CC chain, it's going to allow Cubsy to just hold on to his cooldowns, and that's what happened there. And I feel like the only way that they can stop that is to fear Wealthy Man when they go for these setups. Just fear it right there, though, and it broke immediately. So for Whiskey, he's just trying to get some dots on the Cubsy and trying to stay alive. And this new strategy from the Golden Guardians might actually be enough here to keep the Golden Guardians' hopes here in this series.
Hey, you separate the team, and so what do? Attack Peekaboo, and then Peekaboo can cleave 3 targets, WizK can free cast, or you attack WizK, but then Peekaboo could eventually solo Cubsy. I think splitting your damage like this is a great tactic engaged by the Golden Guardians. However, this is where the map is going to be a favor to Cloud9. Look at Cubsy on the left. How far away do you think he is from Peekaboo? Peekaboo is sprinted, trying to get over to Cubsy to stop him from drinking, but he's not even able to get there. He didn't get any mana back there. It was a bit surprising. Maybe a distract around the corner. Hit Cubsy. He didn't get too much mana back, but mana is definitely going to be a problem for him, so I imagine seeing him looking for drinks even more in the future, dispelling off the dots, trying to stay ahead of the pressure. Hex onto Absterge. This is scary. Peekaboo in a Stormbolt. Battle stance Snuts. Peekaboo trinkets. He's respecting the trade here. It's the Chain Harvest Descendants. Do they have enough to survive? Evasion from Peekaboo. Decent counter pressure on Snuts. They swap back to
Snuts.
WizK. Snuts low suddenly. Has options, though. Cubsy in a full blind. Trinket's out of blind. Opens himself up to a swap now, though, with no Trinket. Peekaboo is edging towards him as if he does want to make that swap, but he's kind of forced back. He's got to run through Snuts and Wealthy Man, which are both body blocking Cubsy at the moment.
Peekaboo's putting a little bit of pressure out onto Snuts in the midfield. Having more of a difficult time actually getting onto Cubsy. Cubsy's been positioned very far away, and it seems like actually Abster's sitting down for a drink, so trying to recover his mana, realizing that this game could absolutely go long. If Cubsy's going to sit down and drink, you kind of have to match him. At the same time, though, WizK getting bursted down, forced into that greater fade. And going after WizK, it can definitely work out well, but the Shadow Priest has a lot of low cooldown defensives that can rotate through with the greater fade and the dispersion. And I think Golden Guardians, as long as they play it cool when WizK doesn't have those available, should be able to hold on for quite some time. Peekaboo now reconnecting to his target, gets the full kidney shot on Cubsy, putting out actually a surprising amount of pressure. If we see a silence, this could be it. A nice smoke bomb denies any healings from Wealthy Man. Cubsy really greeting it out with his emblem, but they just shred through it. And Cubsy gets dropped! Free bubble! This is a disaster for Cloud9. Golden Guardians, they take the swing match. This is so important. That was a bit of a throw by Cloud9. Greed is not always good, and Golden Guardians can be more than happy to walk away with that one, putting Game 5, if we get to it, in their favor.
Wow, that was an insane setup right there as well. And you know, that mid-game adaptation there, target Cubsy anytime they're on top of WizK, that is how Golden Guardians get their pressure. They blinded earlier to get Cubsy's trinket, then they set up a nice smoke bomb there with the kidney shot, with the cheap shot, with the Garrote silence, with the Shadow Priest silence, and then of course WizK with a big Shadow Word Death there at the end as well. We're probably going to rewatch that. And yep, swing match. This is huge. And this is also the prophecy starting to come alive here. We could have a situation where you have 3 top teams in an A, and they're all, they all have one team that they can beat in that trio. So here, we got the blind out the Cubsy a little bit earlier. He trinketed out of that one. And you can see when Peekaboo's the target, that means Snuts is the target. When Peekaboo no longer is the target, that means Cubsy now is the target. They're doing a go onto WizK. WizK has dispersion. That means it's go time here for Peekaboo. He gets the kidney shot, gets the late smoke bomb here. As soon as he notices that Wealthy Man is healing him, their mind games gets interrupted. WizK going for the pre-master spell. There's the silence. Absturge there with the hero lava burst right there. And yeah. I think, did Absturge get the kill? No, it was that Shadow Word Death. But look at Absturge there, adding in, I think, 2 lava bursts right there at the end. And that is an incredible amount of damage that Shamans can do during those setups. If you cast a lava burst and you get a proc for an instant lava burst at the same time, you can do upwards 10,000 damage, which, in a stun lock is a lot.
Oh my gosh, Golden Guardians now 2-1 on match point against Cloud9. This is absolutely detrimental to Cloud9 in this series. This is not a place that we see them very often down in a series, and Golden Guardians very, very close to winning this series here against Cloud9. That would be the first time that we do see it in this circuit yet, and it's Golden Guardians. I mean, I feel like of all the teams that are in North America, is this the team that we could have predicted to potentially be beating Cloud9 in the circuit here, Ben?
I really thought Golden Guardians had a fair shot. I mean, when Cloud9 locked in Turbo, I was like, oh, wait, maybe they don't have a shot. Like, Cloud9 seems to have had the answer. But Golden Guardians, like I said, after Nagrand, it just seems like they've been getting better and better in the matchup. Maybe they had an opportunity to kind of think about what went wrong against Method NA. Just a strategy change, targeted change. It seems to work out well here for Golden Guardians. And now, I mean, they find themselves in a situation where they're just going to play that same matchup again. It didn't look comfortable for Cloud9. Anytime Cubsy got in line of sight, or anytime he got in range of Peekaboo, Peekaboo was able to swap over to him and put a lot of pressure out. So I think Golden Guardians making a great case for themselves. In this current meta, they have so many compositions that just seem to work wonders, whether it's the BM Hunter Shadow Priest, the Shadow Priest Rogue, the Ret BM Hunter. They just have a lot of options, making them a lot more flexible. And it's nice to see for the Golden Guardians, because for a long time we did kind of criticize that they only really had one kind of comp option available to them, which was the RPS. Now they're playing it again and making it work, but they definitely had to put in a lot of work to get to this point during the cup stages, kind of playing the Paladin Fire Mage meta, and they managed to get here, and now finally things are looking really good for them.
Yeah, things are really, really looking good for them. I mean, they've managed to beat Cloud9 on their map choice, and now we're seeing Hook Point locked in from Cloud9, so quite a bit different if you compare it to the size of the last map, Subatees. What do we think that they're thinking here on the side of Cloud9, given this map choice?
They want Cubsy. They want to just dogpile and have everybody on top of everybody. Maybe Cubsy was too separated. If he was closer, an intervene or an off heal from Wealthy Man. Maybe that's what they're thinking. If they stack everything up, they could also be doing a comp change. But they're gonna play Warrior, Mage, Paladin. Golden Guardians. I mean, Golden Guardians could also try and ret Hunter blind if they wanted to with hook points.
No, don't do it.
like
They
that.
don't have to, but yeah, I mean, they're gonna
That's a
RPS.
bet.
RPS.
They might be thinking it, you know? They might be like, hey, wait, we could beat a Wizard Cleave as Red Hunter on this map.
They're definitely thinking it, but it's a bet.
It
Wait,
must
so
just be that they want Cubsy closer to the fight. The problem with that, I think, is Cubsy will run out of mana, but he shouldn't die to the swaps nearly as much.
Maybe. You never know. I mean, the problem is for Wealthy Man, so the way I see it is, Wealthy Man, if Cubsy's in a kidney shot and Wealthy Man gets feared, what do you do? I mean, I guess Snuts is going to have to come back and intervene, but it's just devastating because WizK really can set up the team. They can do just a Psychic Horror on Wealthy Man into a Hex. While they go after Cubsy, they can drop a Smoke Bomb and deny the heals like we saw in the final few moments of that last game. I just feel like Golden Guardians, they do have options. And even though Cloud9 is going to be close, when Cubsy's close to the fight, it's not like, it doesn't look good for him, in all honesty. The best moments in the match were when Cubsy was 80 yards away behind a pillar, just hiding. That's when the game looked the best for Cloud9. And on the small map, I'm not sure it's going to play out the way Cloud9 hopes.
Well, let's see what they do here. We're seeing those same comps, but we are going to be going to Hook Point, so the game's going to look quite a bit different from that last map that was Cloud9's choice last time, and it's this one here again. They are going to Hook Point, so changing things up quite a bit. We're going to see if Golden Guardians can finish this one out 3-1, or is Cloud9 gonna tie this one up? In the beginning of this series, I was kind of seeing like maybe we see the first game 5 of the day, and Cloud9 definitely wants to do that here. They definitely want to stay in this series, so maybe Hook Point is the ticket for these guys to tie things up, or Golden Guardians very, very close to winning the series against Cloud9 3-1, and that would be the first time that we see that in the circuit.
I think, to be fair, they still had bubble. Like Cubsy was trying to greet it with Battlemaster, but if he had just bubbled there, that could have still maybe gone in favor of Cloud9. Maybe this is an overreaction to go to a different map type rather than setting up a big map type. We will have to wait and see here how Snuts, Wealthy Man, Cubsy deal with the Golden Guardians, because it looks like they're going straight for Cubsy. And this is a small map. It's going to be really tough. Snuts is getting crowd controlled. Hex being casted. Gets disrupted. Cubsy low on health, trying to recover with Divine Toll, managing to recover with an Awakening proc. Cubsy's very happy about that. It's going to allow him to freely top. Double Fear stun on WizK. Good setup by Cloud9 as they look to counter engage. Damage flies in onto WizK, but Earthen Wall Totem was pre-anticipated by Absturge, so it soaked up all of that damage during the crowd control. It was a good read by Absturge. However, now Earthen Wall has faded, and WizK is going to feel the pain of this turbo time.
Yeah, let's see what WizK is going to be able to do. He trinkets, he's used his fade, he's trying to get away, but good pressure. Peekaboo putting out multiple pressure points, getting damage on Snuts, on Wealthy Man, as well as Cubsy. Let's see where he decides to put that next kidney shot in the match. WizK still just, the pressure's unrelenting. They force out the dispersion. Maybe a little bit preempted there by WizK, but just wants to try to create a little bit of space, I suppose. I mean, this is big cooldowns from the side of Wealthy Man, using the Ascendance. They do manage to weather that storm. A Hex comes in, a nice Fleshcraft there by Absturge, denies that crowd control, and Golden Guardians hold on. And every time Wealthy Man has that Ascendance, that's when Golden Guardians needs to freak out. They need to trade out cooldowns, as that is the scariest moment in the match.
Yeah, but mana so far looking quite tired. Both healers still with a healthy margin. Full kidney shot here onto Cubsy. There's the fear onto Wealthy Man. There's the mind games. Can they silence Wealthy Man here? That would be big, but they gotta silence Cubsy there instead and hex Wealthy Man. Very nice push so far from the Golden Guardians. Still a lot of pressure here on the Cubsy. If Peekaboo can get that uptime on the Cubsy, it's always going to be a nice situation for the Golden Guardians. But WizK here, no dispersion, dropping dangerously low. Absturge forced to trade out the Spirit Link here. That uptime is starting to pay off here. Whiskey with nothing for another 30 seconds here. Abster's just going to have to be kind of babysitting Whiskey here. No earthen wall totem as well. Whiskey is going to be able to survive there, but that was at the cost of a defensive blind there onto Snots. And still here, kind of a nice situation for C9 right now. They just need to force out a big push once more. They got a 10-second window to do it. They're here onto Whiskey. If they can do it right now, there's the full fear. Big pressure coming out here onto Whiskey, but a nice silence going to shut that down. They're doing a counter go onto Snuts instead. Peekaboo playing defense there at that 10-second window where Whiskey could have gone down. And now, once again, Golden Guardians can look to get aggressive here onto Cubsy. Everybody stacked up. They have pressure on Cubsy and Snuts here. Not looking too bad, and that Vampiric Embrace is doing a lot of work now as well as a result for the Golden Guardians.
All right, mana about even between these teams, except I expect Abster to develop a lead. Whiskey escaping here with the Door of Shadows. They're powering down Snuts. I like these hexes on Wealthy Man. I really like it when they crowd control the Enhancement Shaman, preventing him from doing damage, preventing him from healing the team. I think that he should be the main crowd control target. Psychic Scream and Hex, and then target Snuts and Cubsy. But now that their crowd control is over, they're going to be on defense. Whiskey having to trade Greater Fade. Stuns Wealthy Man with the Psychic Horror, more or less out of desperation. They combo with the Cap Totem, so Peekaboo is going to need to go after Cubsy with the next Kidney Shot if he wants to maximize his cooldown with that ability. But Cubsy's out of line of sight here on the pillar, and with this map he can line of sight Shadow Step and then peek in for a heal and then line of step Shadow Step. So this is a nice map so far, looking for Cloud9. It's a lot better than maybe we were expecting in terms of the theory crafting for it. Snuts is still the target here for the side of the Golden Guardians. They're just trying to power down Cubsy's mana, but Cubsy could drink in this position. He's in a good spot to just pull away from the fight if he needs to. Double Psychic Scream, but no cover. Instant Dispel. Whiskey is getting feared up here along with Absterts. They're going after Peekaboo. They got his Medallion. He's trying to not trade anything prior to the Ascendance, but that's a full Hex. Here comes the Ascendance. The Harvest is coming. Peekaboo is going to trade Cloak of Shadows, anticipating it. They stun Wealthy Man, they stun Snuts. Cubsy trades a Sacrifice in the midst of all that, maybe trying to preemptively sacrifice an incoming Blind. And we'll have to wait and see because Blind is still available. Mana is not looking good for Cubsy. He's sitting down maybe in the back. He's afraid to. Snuts is the target. And do remember, Cloud9 are on match point. So whenever Cubsy decides to make this move to try and drink, he is potentially risking losing the game. He is sitting down for a drink right now.
Ooh, Chain Harvest though coming in from Wealthy Man. Keeps Snuts alive, but Snuts still had to trade out the die by the sword. Whiskey has had good positioning. He's just forcing Snuts to overextend away from Cubsy and off the pillar. And I feel like the game, Cloud9, there's kind of a strategy change for them. They haven't really been going after Peekaboo too much in the match. It's a lot about just training down Whiskey, trying to tax the mana of Abster to keep him on the back foot. I mean, Cubsy completely recovered his mana. Things are looking good here for Cloud9. But Golden Guardians, they still have a shot in this one. There's an interrupt. Whiskey getting a little bit low right now. This could be the dispersion. Earthen Wall Totem drops out by Absurge, looking to deflect a little bit of that incoming damage. Snuts getting attacked right now, but Cubsy in the back line just throwing in heals, throwing in dispels. Cloud9 looking more than healthy. A big kidney shot comes in though. Wealthy Man there too, throwing some heals. Absurge needs to try to recover his mana if he can, but I just feel like the way this one is going, I don't know if he's going to be able to. A beautiful, intimidating shout coming in from Snuts. He gets a triple, and they net a dispersion on Whiskey. And now, without the dispersion fade, Whiskey is going to be feeling very scared.
Yeah, that was a really nice Hex there as well. And now Whiskey here, he has the fade. That's about it. After that, it's going to be a big window where they can take him down. If they can get a big push onto him. But I feel like Absurge's mana actually doesn't matter too much right now. I feel like it's mostly about the cooldowns here. You might need to trade out the Spirit Link Totem. You need to be careful. There's the fade coming out. Whiskey, where's the Master Spell? He gets stunned. The Trinket's out. There's the full Hex now onto Absurge. Beautiful pressure though. Counter setup by Peekaboo. Kidney shot onto Cubsy. Nice Hex there. But now there's the Spirit Link Totem being dropped by Absurge with the Trinket there. So another defensive out of the checkbook, and Whiskey's not out of the woods just yet. No fade for another 25 seconds. Still a lot of pressure potential here for Cloud9. They have a decent mana lead as well. Whiskey's still dropping quite low here. The only thing that can save them is pressure. Peekaboo needs to get a lot of pressure here over onto Snuts and Wealthy Man. But right now it's going to be Whiskey on the fire. 10 more seconds before he has the fade. What can he do here? Wealthy Man trinkets out, trying to get the Hex there. Fakes out the Shadow Step kick. But now Whiskey does have the fade. He might have to activate it immediately here. He's trying to hold on to it. Abster's keeping him alive for now. And it looks like the Golden Guardians are going to be able to stabilize another dangerous situation like that.
Yeah, Wealthyman trinketed to try and go for a Hex out of the Storm Bolt. He doesn't have a Medallion now to help out if he gets crowd controlled in a setup. This is an opportunity for the Golden Guardians. They're going to use Blessing Protection aggressively, but Absterge is trying to shut it down and avoid this Hex. They're going after Cubsy. Is Cubsy going to be able to stay alive on match point, or Golden Guardians going to pull off the upset, taking it 3-1 here? I was expecting Cloud9 to be able to take this in a Game 5, but Golden Guardians, winning their previous game on Empyrean Domain, has now proven that they are capable of beating the Turbo composition with their Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman, but they are getting chopped up right now. Snuts is in battle stance, maximizing his damage, and Absterge counters it with the Ascendants. They don't feel comfortable. Whiskey disperses as well. A bit of an overlap. Whiskey sneaking up on Cubsy with the Door of Shadows. Are they going to set up a swap here onto Wealthyman with Vendetta? Looks like the Vendetta was already bopped off. There's no opportunities. Here comes the Ascendants, just ending now for Wealthyman. You didn't get too much value out of it, so Golden Guardians avoid it. Despite Cubsy drinking, mana is evening out once again between the healers. It's not good for Cubsy. Peekaboo's moving forward, trying to stop Cubsy from drinking, now also just poking him and attacking him, dotting him, trying to really tax him on mana. Whiskey's in trouble, he's low. Full Hex onto Absterge. These Hexes have been game-winning. Double Psychic Scream in desperation from Whiskey. Buys a couple of seconds on the clock for him to survive, and those couple of seconds look like it's going to be enough. Peekaboo now switching over to Cubsy. Shadow Crash comes in from Whiskey off to the side. He's trying to find a mind games before Cubsy lines him, but he can't. Whiskey is just constantly under fire, dampening a double-edged sword, both reducing the healing of Wealthyman, but also the healing of Whiskey, and you can start to see the damage stick way more.
Yeah, at this point, 20% dampening is becoming increasingly difficult for both of these healers. Right now, Whiskey under fire. He trades at the Greater Fade, and just at this point, he's always had a Greater Fade. He's always had a Dispersion, but now with nothing, going to be feeling really scared. I mean, Absterge, he's got no emergency healing. This is a scary moment. Absterge gets Hammer of Justice on his trinket. Whiskey on the run, looking for a Mass Dispel. He finds it. Earth Shield immediately connects there, but is that enough to keep Whiskey alive? It's looking like it. It's Nuts now, forced to use the Die by the Sword. Cloud9 trying to get really aggressive, but Cubsy's burned through almost all of his mana. Snuts has used his Die by the Sword. This is looking scary, and Whiskey has his Dispersion. Might have to trade it out here, though. That's a lot of damage. That Stormbolt was looking devastating for Whiskey, but the Dispersion was up. And now Greater Fate almost available once again. Whiskey holds on, but how much longer can Absterge keep this up? He's got the Spirit Link Totem, but dampening is getting so high. The consistent damage from Snuts and Wealthyman is overwhelming the Golden Guardians right now. What are the Golden Guardians going to do? They drop a Smoke Bomb. Big play here onto Snuts. Can they take him down? This is the Vendetta. Big Vendetta play coming in from Peekaboo. What is Cubsy going to do? He trades out the Sacrifice. That should be enough to keep him alive. He's got the Divine Shield if he needs it. Cloud9 hold on, and now they're looking to close out this game.
Yeah, if Whiskey can survive this, though, it's going to be good. Do it to Spirit Link Absterge. He's looking to drop it. No, he doesn't get it off in time. And instead, he is going to be taken down. And we are going to go all the way to a game number 5 here. C9 tie it up 2-2. If Absterge could have gotten that Spirit Link, that game wasn't actually looking too bad for them. Look at Cubsy's mana completely tapped right there. He had just 5% or so left in the mana bar. And the Paladin, with the changes, is as soon as he goes Oom, like, it's better to have an Oom Shaman than an Oom Paladin. Let's just leave it at that. So I don't know if it would have been enough. There was still another 20 seconds for that next Dispersion and that Fade to come off cooldown for Whiskey. But if they could have stayed alive for another 20 seconds, they probably would have ended up winning that game on the side of Golden Guardians. Oh, yeah, we can see it.
I mean, look how close this was. Whiskey, no Dispersion. I think we're a little bit ahead of the moment where he links. So he fades. They Earthen Wall at the same time. You could argue an overlap, but they swap to Peekaboo anyways. Here they get aggressive. They go after Snuts. No Die by the Sword. They're feeling like, hey, we can get some momentum. Cubsy stops the kill with Sacrifice and Avenging Wrath. And now, because Absterge doesn't have a Medallion, he uses Fleshcraft. He's trying to anticipate crowd control. Goes for a Hex. Gets Windshield on it. And here's the reconnect onto Whiskey. Right here, Absterge has a split-second decision. It's link now or never link. And it just wasn't able to come down. It was a tough call. I mean, it wasn't Ascendance, right? There wasn't really significant cooldowns from Cloud9. It's just dampening was high, and they already had momentum. So making that split-second decision when dampening really mixes up the way that the game is played in terms of cooldowns just made it really a tough choice. They're not going to be able to take it there, but now in Game 5, they get their map, and they get their comp advantage. So what do you do if you're Cloud9? Do you blind lock Turbo again and deal with the Red Hunter, or do you blind lock your main? Do you switch over to mains? I feel like this is not comfortable for Cloud9.
That's a good question. What size?
I think you blind lock Turbo.
Blind lock Turbo, and then just kind of
deal with Red Hunter.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Well, we are going to be finding out, but I mean, Supatiz is absolutely right. Golden Guardians winning game number 3, winning that swing match was huge for them in this series. Even though things are tied up right now, Golden Guardians does have a little bit of an advantage here as we head into that draft process, because now it's Cloud9 that is going to have to blind lock their composition. And as we've seen so far in this series, it's a difficult position to be in. Golden Guardians were able to do it 2 games in a row and turn this series in their favor, but the question is, does Cloud9 switch off their comp, or are they going to continue playing the one that we've been seeing from them this entire series? So do we want to take, you guys, we can go into it a little bit deeper. Like, what do you do here if you're Cloud9? What's the safer choice, going back to your main composition that you're known for, that you might feel a little bit more comfortable, or is that not a better matchup than what we've currently been seeing in this series, Ego?
Well, I think with the exception of like Tolvir being the next map, I think it's pretty safe to say C9 should lock in Turbo, and the Golden Guardians, I mean, it's going to come down to WizKrat out of all things. So I think for them, just play a good game like you did on Dalaran, and you got this, you know, if you're Golden Guardians. And yeah, they're going to go to Ruins of Lordaeron, which is a nice aggressive map.
The same as
probably...
Method series. Method playing Turbo. This is the same situation. The Golden Guardians pulled it out, and then Ben said, Absurd said that they should have won, and they just played bad. So
yeah,
I think the Golden Guardians got what they wanted, right? Yep. If it went the way that they're describing it.
I feel like also when we look back at the series between Golden Guardians and Method NA, if we go back and look at that, I mean, we could say that, you know, the Golden Guardians, they got 3-0'd. It looked like a disaster, but if you remember, they lost a lot of games without using anything. So they just, I think there was 2 games where one WizKid didn't bubble, Peekaboo didn't trade out Vanish and like Trinket or something like that. So there's a few throwaway games, and now we're seeing it's a lot closer than we initially anticipated against this Turbo Cleave. And things aren't that comfortable for Cloud9. I mean, they did lose this matchup on Dalaran Sewers, so things still looking dicey for both these teams. I feel like this is one of those matchups where a big soul harvest, or chain harvest, sorry, could come in and harvest the souls of Golden Guardians. At the same time, Golden Guardians could put out a ton of damage from WizK, and it's just kind of the nature of the Enhancement Shaman and the Retribution Paladin. It is a lot of burst damage and a lot of healing, and sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't. But I think the team that ultimately manages their burst and their defensive cooldowns is going to have the biggest edge in this one.
You know, even if we do see Cloud9 lose this next game against Golden Guardians, it's great to see them adapt this new composition. I mean, I know you guys are saying that there is some room for improvement, maybe to be a little bit more comfortable on that composition, but we know that these guys are going to be going into the top 4, or sorry, are going to be in top 4 and moving on to the North American Finals, and now they have this new comp in their belt, and we can be sure that they're going to be getting a ton more practice as well as we head into the finals, and I feel like this makes them Supatiz an even scarier team. Regardless of how this series ends, this comp could mean good things for Cloud9.
Well, yeah, Cloud9, I feel like they've got the wizard comps, they had the mage melee comps, and what they were missing as a part of the Trinity was the double melee. So if they can incorporate Turbo for situations like this, where they can just counter Golden Guardian's main composition, then that's going to be vital for the North American Finals, which, I mean, I think they're like, it's obvious even if they lose that they're going to qualify. Just looking at the match records, I think that it's impossible for them not to qualify. Whether or not they'd be first is then debatable, but they're definitely there. So this is a very important display from Cloud9 to have this variety. Golden Guardians, they've got variety too, although I'm still saying it's oddball, even though I'm normally like the oddball, just picking like weird comps and stuff.
You used to be. I feel like
I used to be the oddball. Have I sold out? I've sold out to the meta.
I feel like
I only want to see people playing the best comps that they can.
You've changed.
Anytime we see something oddball, you're like, no. Every time we see an oddball composition, you're like, yeah, Golden Guardian, just go back to RPS. I'm not sold on this one.
I feel like Ben.
They're trying to.
You guys have flopped.
Yeah, I think so. I'll be getting a little bit more bold with my predictions. You know, that's some feedback I got in the past. And
shout out to Carter.
Yeah, but anyways,
what is that? Go ahead.
I still feel like Shadowlands is such a new expansion, especially when we see big patches coming in, like 905, where lots of things are changing. Like there really is stuff that's yet to be discovered. I mean, we're seeing it here. Pre 905, we would not see Turbo versus the Ret BM Hunter Holy Priest. So new matchups still coming in. Golden Guardians trying to figure this one out, but I would say it didn't look too bad for them on downrun. I mean, they ended up winning. It was some close calls, but I still feel like they got to be feeling pretty confident in this one. I mean, these teams are taking quite a while between games, so obviously discussing their strategies, trying to figure out, exactly what they want to do to win, as this might be something that they haven't practiced or played against that often.
Yeah, definitely a lot of misters in the air, no matter which team you're on here, because we've seen a number of delays within this series. Because you've got to bet, Ven, that they are definitely behind the scenes discussing strategy, because this is a new territory for basically everyone in this match. But game number 5, this is the last game of the day. Let's get some hype in the chat for these two teams here. Ruins of Lordaeron. We could potentially see Cloud9 lose their perfect match in the circuit so far, but they are looking to get a win here for the last game of the day on Saturday.
Yeah, very, very big game ahead here. Game number 5, of course, between Cloud9 Golden Guardians. The gates are open. We got ourselves the matchup that Golden Guardians said that they should win. So that Ret Hunter, that Cupid cleave, if you will, because the Ret has wings and the Hunter has a bow and arrow. They don't get the first trap here onto Cubsy. Gets grounded there by Wealthy Man, but he does use Trinket in that exchange. So good opener here for the Golden Guardians. And I mean, for C9, everything is on the line here. They could go 7-0 in the circuit if they win here. But, it's a big disadvantage, and we'll see if they can pull it off, Sid.
Yeah, let's see if Cloud9 can keep up the perfect record. If they don't, it would still be a fitting final resting place, as it is a cemetery. WizK getting blasted down here. Cloud9 really want it. They've been going a lot more aggressive in terms of hexes. Wealthy Man is trying to hex the healer way more frequently throughout this series. I think that is allowing Cloud9 to get more momentum. So let's see if Wealthy Man can land more hexes and secure victory for his team. Currently just chasing down the Ret Paladin. Knockback trap from Jellybeans, bouncing Snuts and Wealthy Man away. Good protection of the Ret Paladin. WizK is just kiting in between stuns. I think it's important, just let Jellybeans do most of the work here with his pets and avoid damage, but Snuts and Wealthy Man have connected. Sundering. Absurge is right on top of the melee DPS here. That could be risky. WizK is getting blasted, but Snuts and Wealthy Man are getting cleaved down. Who's going to fall first here? This is a high-pressure Game 5.
It definitely is. So far, Wealthy Man a little bit low. Gets mind control. Nice mind control there. Blinding Light from Cubsy is going to shut that down. A full Hex does land onto Absurge as well. Into a Hammer of Justice on the Trinket. Nicely done there by Cubsy. What are they going to be able to get? Nothing, actually. WizK, with his Blessing of Sanctuary, will free Absurge from the stuns, allowing him to throw out heals. Guardian Angel going to be traded out, as Golden Guardians do not want to fall behind. Good crowd control initiated by Cloud9, but a great response from Golden Guardians keeps them in it.
Yeah, and we're going to see here, WizK still not out of the woods just yet, dropping quite low here. Last time these two guys played these comps earlier in this series, it was, it came down to the wire. We hit dampening. We had both teams being but WizK right now taking big damage right there, gets leaped back to Absurge. Now it's going to be reconnecting here once again onto WizK, looking for that damage with those condemns. And for Jellybeans, I mean, he's been having a great game so far. He's activating his cooldowns, doing big damage here onto Wealthy Man. The Astral Shift is going to come out, and there's the Intimidation stun onto Cubsy. Wealthy Man has the grounding totem, but he gets hodged. Where's the trap, though? Jellybeans not able to find the trap. He's going to actually get it off of the Venthyr blink right there. Very nicely done by Jellybeans. He gets the interrupt there as well, as they shift their attention over onto Snuts. WizK, though, is disarmed right now, not able to do anything with those precious wings on the Cupid. And Jellybean's now going to be the target of choice here for C9. C9 still with a lot of mana left in the tank, with a mana lead actually, but the Holy Priest is going to be a little bit more efficient than the Holy Paladin when it does come down to it. So still anybody's game at this point, as we see Jellybeans and Absurge just look to kite here, wait for their trap, and to re-engage.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up. Tight quarters here between these two teams. Ruins of Lordaeron is a very high-pressure, aggressive map, and WizK is getting run down by Snuts and Wealthy Man at the moment, trying to escape with the Blessing of Freedom, but he's stacking on top of Absurge. Now he's caught into a Hammer of Justice. He gets broken out with the Sanctuary of WizK. WizK looks like he's trying to turn around here onto Wealthy Man. What's he going to swing back with here? He's Sharpened Blade. His Word of Glories are going to be reduced. The Apotheosis is not getting full value either. Wealthy Man actually retreating away, trying to escape. with no medallion. He's afraid of getting stunned, so Wealthy Man's going to duck for cover at the tombstone. Cubsy just sits down for a drink, kind of BM in the middle of the map there. Jellybean's like, what are you doing? And just hits him with a Cobra shot really quickly. Cubsy's going to do whatever he can, whenever he can, to get a mana advantage in this fight on game 5. They're swapping over to Snuts. No, they're swapping to Cubsy. Whiskey's going straight for the healer, knocking him out into the open, but I don't think they're going to be able to take Cubsy down. He recovers quite quickly. Now Whiskey once again on the run, trying to escape the warrior and the shaman, waiting for those double stuns before really making a push. Chain Harvest comes in from Wealthy Man. He's going to get mind controlled, trap onto Cubsy. They're going to drop the mind control and maybe go for the kill here. Is Wealthy Man ready for it on match point? Tossing out a healing surge, but he's dangerously low. He's going to have to astral shift. He trades it with the Avenging Wrath. And this is a big trade for Wealthy Man. Now he needs to get aggressive. He's trying to get onto WizK here in Ghost Wolf, making his way, but Angel activates from Upsurge. That's going to provide a lot of extra healing. WizK will recover. It's Wealthy Man who I don't think can make even trades here unless Cubsy commits a cooldown, but he's interrupted at the moment. Jellybeans gets interrupted on his Door of Shadows, trying to go for a Door of Shadows trap. Upsurge is trying to drink Snuts' Door of Shadows over to stop Upsurge from drinking. Clutch play from Snuts. They need to make sure that Upsurge doesn't regenerate mana. That's what allowed them to win on Dalaran.
Yeah, it's going to be so important for both these teams to be just constantly checking out what the other healer is doing. A false trap lands on Cubsy. WizK not in range to really get out too much damage. A Hammer of Justice is going to land onto Wealthy Man. Big Divine Toll. Can they take Wealthy Man down? Intimidation stun. Great crowd control by Jellybeans, but at the same time, Cloud9 looking to reverse the pressure. An eye for an eye going to be used by WizK as he's still just doing such a good job with his positioning, moving in to pressure Wealthy Man during crowd control, and then as soon as the crowd control fades, he tries to play at range and just heal himself up, try to do as much damage while avoiding as much damage as humanly possible. A stun now on WizK. Every man for himself going to be traded out, speaking of human. And now actually repositioning into the fight, trying to get that damage rolling on a Wealthy Man with the trap onto Cubsy. But Wealthy Man, he has the answers. He's got the Ascendance as well. WizK has to be very careful as Wealthy Man has a huge hit of damage, and he's going to use it. WizK not messing around. The Divine Shield trades immediately. What a close call.
Yeah, and he gets shattered by Snuts. He's not out of the woods yet, though. Wealthy Man still has that Ascendance. He gets stunned on the last couple of seconds there of it. Hamster's trying to do what he can to protect him at this point. And now finally, Hamster's throwing out some mind controls. Mana is not looking good on either side here. WizK gets another big heal there from Upsurge. Upsurge should be... Oh, Wealthy Man takes a huge amount of damage. There's a trinket sacrifice from Cubsy. That's going to be overlapped with the Astral Shift. Wealthy Man is not in a good situation here. They have mana left on Upsurge. WizK right now, though, takes a lot of damage from Snuts. Beautiful heals coming out from Upsurge. He doesn't have a Holy Word Serenity, though, for a couple more seconds. He's smiting, trying to reset the cooldowns here. They get the full freezing trap here. Snuts now out in midfield in a lot of trouble. He gets Hammer of Justice. He trinkets out. There's the counter now. It's a Stormbolt coming in. Here comes the Harvest. Big damage onto WizK. He's using that Blessing of Protection to survive. He has the Power Infusion onto him right now as well here. Upsurge still with some mana left in the tank. Cubsy has nothing. All they need to do is just add that BM Hunter damage onto Wealthy Man. He will fall over. 20 more seconds before he has that Astral Shift. Can Cubsy keep him alive? I don't know, Sid.
Oh, Snuts says nothing either. They can swap to him. How are they going to keep them alive? A freezing trap lands. I think he has a Divine Shield. He's trying to sit it just to regenerate mana. But Snuts is in a mind control. It's 3 versus 1. Cubsy has to Divine Shield. It's match point. Our Golden Guardian's going to do the impossible and break Cloud9's perfect record in circuit play. They are so close to finding victory, but no! WizK goes down. Wealthy can die at the same time. He's at 10% intervene. Jellybeans is in a full hex.
Oh my god!
Oh no! He's trying to stay on top of his target here. Blessing of Protection gets purged off. Upsurge is moving in for the kill. Cubsy still has 0 mana. Upsurge walks into a blinding light. Wealthy Man walls at 10%. He can escape with another shot. Wealthy Man, Upsurge takes him out. Cubsy is tricky, but he's totally out of mana. Are they going to pull this off? With WizK going down, the BM Hunter, consistent pressure. If Jellybeans can just get away from Snuts, I can't believe it. They played it out in the 2v3. They were so close. Snuts is now stunned up. Cubsy can't heal. He's in a trap. Snuts mind controlled at low health, keeping him away from Jellybeans. Just max out the BM Hunter damage. Keep the warrior threat at bay. This is unbelievable.
This is unbelievable. I feel like Golden Guardians, the fact that they were able to take down Wealthy Man, that actually gives them an edge in this matchup. Cubsy's got no mana. Snuts is going to try to stay on target, but Jellybean's just so good on that Hunter and avoiding damage. I just have to give the edge in this 2 versus 2 to Golden Guardians. And if they could do this, this is so important for them. They could take away Cloud9's first place seeding. And really, I mean, this is so huge for Golden Guardians if they can win this one. What point in dampening are we at? 22%. Cubsy no mana. Snuts 50% health. Just trying to avoid damage, but it is really difficult to avoid damage from a BM Hunter.
Upstarch has managed to get mana, and I mean, look at Jellybeans here. He's perfectly happy just sitting here, spamming out kill commands, spamming out his damage from range, from very far away. Cubsy now in the stun. Cubsy is going to be able to survive there with the prime protection. Also gets those wings, but I gotta agree with Van here for sure. Golden Guardians ahead in this 2v2 situation there, and hopefully we can see a replay later on when the kill happens. Cubs is sneaking away for a drink right now. Absterge though also drinking. Absterge gonna have full mana basically to work with.
Oh no!
I really want to see the moment when the kill happened, when Wealthy Man survived. Snuts feared the pets, feared everybody, and they got that hex and they almost survived. But now Snuts, I don't think he's going to be surviving here for much longer. Jellybean's pets are having 100% uptime, and I mean, Snuts, he can't really hit anything. He's just doing damage to the pets here, just having no targets here. Jellybean's just playing on max range, Absterge drinking as much as possible, and Cubsy's never allowed to drink here because guess what? Anytime he tries, Jellybeans is there throwing tar traps on the pillar, sending his pets in, and this is looking like a slow, painful death. Absterge going for the res now to force him away from the pillar, but Absterge actually a target for Snuts here. He needs to try to kite here. If Snuts gets uptime on Absterge, that's the only way I can see Cloud9 winning this 2v2.
I think that it's likely just over here. Cubsy's not able to drink. He's not able to res the BM Hunter with range advantage. Snuts is just YOLO going after the full mana Holy Priest here to try and take out Absterge. That's probably his best odds at this point, but now mind controlled at low health on the Divine Favor. Jellybeans goes for the Trank Shot to try and purge it off.
Oh, the eye!
He doesn't get lucky on it. He gets mind controlled into the eye. Snuts is going to take way more damage now as a result. Snuts tries to charge onto Jellybeans. He gets stunned up. Absterge in position for Psychic Scream as follow-up. Snuts is at half health. Absterge is fishing for Holy Fires to add a bunch of damage here onto Snuts. Another mind control. Sacrifice comes through for Cubsy. He's desperate. He's trying to keep Snuts aggressive. He's trying to keep him on the Holy Priest. That's the only way they win this. Snuts has to chop up Absterge. I think it's going to be impossible for him to go after Jellybeans. He's trying to here, but now he gets mind controlled. They stop Cubsy from drinking. Avenging Wrath is up, but he can't heal while he's mind controlled. Absterge is playing a risky game though, mind controlling at 50% health with Snuts right next to him. Snuts going to pop the Avatar, try and chunk down Absterge and go for the kill, but it's against all odds. Everything in favor of the Golden Guardians in this 2v2. If Snuts pulls this off, it's an absolute miracle. He is definitely MVP if he can do this. Stunning up Absterge. He gets the Angel, the Guardian Angel from Absterge. This is actually very important. They're desperate. They trap Snuts. Cubsy tries to drink, but he gets poked a little bit. Snuts is actually getting the cooldowns he needs to get, despite this looking so abysmal for them. If Snuts can actually stay on the Holy Priest, he might be able to pull this off.
Absterge is going to be retreating right now in a good spot. I feel like this is good for the Golden Guardians. Finally, a moment to breathe. Snuts is going to have to play defensive. I guess Cubsy really doesn't have too much left to work with if he can't sit down for a drink, recovering maybe just the smallest little bit of mana, but the pets will shut him down. I feel like this is the positioning that Golden Guardians want. I mean, Absterge is just playing max range. The pets are taking down Snuts. Dampening is getting higher. They traded a Blessing of Protection. Everything going in favor of Golden Guardians right now. Absterge is getting that Guardian Spirit coming up in just 15 seconds. He's got his Trinket. He's got basically everything he needs to live. And Golden Guardians, I feel like they have Cloud9 in check at this point. I mean, I don't know how Snuts is possibly going to take someone down. There's no mana whatsoever. Snuts down to 20% health. Gets a reflect there. Nicely done. Cubsy going to be going for a Divine Toll, not doing too much. Of 45% dampening. A mind control puts Snuts out into the open. Cubsy forced to continue the fight, maybe even going for a potential Hammer of Justice on Absterge. He manages to find it. They're going after Jellybeans, but he's got Aspect of the Turtle. He's got Exhilaration. He's kiting Snuts. Snuts can't do anything. Trying to get back on target, but this game could just be over. Cubsy's got the Sacrifice. That's the only tool he has really left to keep his team alive. But at this point in dampening, I don't think Cloud9 can really recover. Snuts is getting so low. The Sacrifice trades. A mind control would be devastating. And it is. Cubsy can't do anything. He's 1% health. The Blinding Light comes in. Shadow Death from Absterge. Golden Guardians do it. They come back in the 3 versus 2 situation. They win the 2v2. They win the series. Quite unbelievable.
what an insane series this was. Look at Abster. He's so relieved right there. Unbelievable performance here from the Golden Guardians. They lose the blind pick. They win the second game narrowly on their counter pick. They win the swing match with the RPS with some new fancy strategies. And then they take it home here on Ruins of Lordaeron in a 2 versus 3 or a 2 versus 2 with a cross kill. Jellybeans able to chase that one down together with Absturge and get that cross kill onto Wealthy Man, and then they're able to win that 2v2 as well, breaking C9's streak. Obviously, Golden Guardians are qualified, C9 are qualified, Method and A are qualified, but